Welcome back, Jet fans, if there's any Jet fans left. Uh, it's hard to say that I'm excited about discussing this today, but the last couple of weeks we were 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, whatever. It was kind of like the same old, nothing really spectacular to talk about that people haven't hashed on. But this week, I mean, the Jets are just taking over the sports news. Uh, I don't know if I'm being sarcastic. I have to laugh at the situation, but I mean, it's really amazing what happened this past Sunday. What we witnessed at 9:30 in the morning. Uh, I got up nice and early. I made pancakes and bacon and invited a couple of friends over. Mike and Chris, I know you watch these videos all the time, and I just want to give them a shout out and hanging out with me and bearing that boring, typical Jet horrible game that we saw on Sunday from London. Ed, I'll get to you first and let me know in a general nutshell what you thought about that debacle.
Well, before I get to that, Dave, I like to say, I was excited. I was excited all weekend. I was excited on Friday, Saturday, at the 9:30 game. London, I thought maybe this change of scenery would change our luck.
Right.
You cooked breakfast, I saw. I went out to the bagel store, got us some nice sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches to watch the game with. Was excited. Did you have any cocktails during the game, Dave? Yes or no?
Well, to be honest with you, we started off with the bacon, pancakes, orange juice, and then at halftime, it was time to start hitting the booze. I mean,
Without a doubt.
yeah, I
It
mean,
really
it
was.
was, listen, it's, I'm going to let you continue in a second, but it's week after week of me, and I keep saying I have this one person I got into the Jets, I guess going back 2 years now. And for him to come over, luckily he enjoys either the pizza or he enjoyed my pancakes. But to sit and watch the Jets barely move the ball and score points, I feel bad for him and all the other Jet fans. But go ahead, continue.
No, I was excited. I thought, like I said, I thought a change of scenery, maybe change our luck. Then we start off a fumble. We're gonna force our first turnover, get the ball, can't move, but at least we get a field goal. And I just thought that I really thought that Justin Fields looked lost. He wasn't moving back there. He just
Yeah,
wasn't. I mean, he got sacked 9 times, and clearly some of those were the line's fault, and some of them might have been coverage sacks, but a lot of them, I was sitting there just thinking he's just sitting there too long. He's not moving. And I also like the end of what made me nervous not only about Justin Fields looking inept.
mm,
What made me really concerned was Aaron Glenn looking inept. I mean, the end of the first half when they fake the punt and they have some time and they could take a shot downfield, they don't. I mean, even when Garrett Wilson gets upset and starts yelling at your coach on the way to the tunnel at halftime, something's wrong. And I just thought I thought it was, and the defense played well. I mean, defense kept them in the game
yeah,
for the most part.
yeah. Just
Um,
to chime in, Ed, too. Watching various sports shows, between today and Sunday, and listening to a broadcast. Uh, the consensus basically is he was sacked 9 times. I think I heard Boomer Esiason say 8 of those 9 times he held the ball too long. I heard, I
okay,
think
without a
maybe
doubt. I mean,
Rich Eisen also said maybe 6 of the 9. Regardless, I was actually watching the game, sitting next to my buddies, and when he snapped the ball after 3 seconds, I was yelling, "Throw it, throw it, throw it, throw it." So, and also I just happened to catch Boomer on a show, Boomer Esiason, where I want to try to get this right. I'm not sure, but anyway, he basically said that Justin Fields currently has the longest amount of time to pass the ball in the NFL, something around that stat area. So listen, one of two things are happening here, and only the film's going to show it, and Aaron Glenn is going to have to address it. Either Justin Fields is holding on to the ball too long and doesn't know what's going on, like I said, he's lost, or the offensive coordinator isn't scheming people to be
I was gonna
open.
say that. I mean, you know what you don't see a lot? You don't see a lot of like there was one throw to Mason Taylor to the tight end. There was
Zero
are they
throws
looking
to
too
Brees
are they
Hall.
looking too as you said, are they looking downfield too much? Are they looking for deep routes? I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand um why that's the case. I mean, it's bizarre.
It is. It is. I mean, Uh, Also, I just before I forget my thought, because you just gave that whole little spiel there. I also, for the first time, we're 0-6 now. For the first time, I have lost a lot of confidence in Avon Glenn after that whole pre-half time debacle. You know,
He looked
uh,
like he was just. Oh, it looked like he had no idea what was going on, what to do, what to call. He looked overmatched.
yeah. And I watched. I don't know if you watched. Do you watch all the press conferences on?
Sometimes I watched a little yesterday, not a lot, because I was I
Yeah.
was I was too numb.
So what I do is I go to YouTube and I subscribe to the Jets or SINY, whatever the heck it's called, and I get all the updates and whatnot. So I watch the press conferences, and they finally broke Avon Glenn about the pre-halftime shenanigans that went on over and over again. Why didn't you throw it deep and go for pass interference? Why didn't you try to run the ball? And eventually he said,
I made a
looking back
mistake,
on it
right?
now, I probably should have did that.
What?
But yes, but I would say if I could take, man, let's run it down. Let's get ready to throw the Hail Mary. So I'm with you on that. That's a mistake that I made, and I hold myself accountable for that.
So
Yeah.
at least he finally,
I think though, honestly, I think what happened was on the flight back from London, I think the Jets front office and the PR people were like, "Listen, you got to really that you look that was ridiculous what you said. I mean, you got to own up to that. I mean, you looked horrible. The
yeah,
only, the
it
only, the only way
was.
you can save face is by saying I was a rookie coach who made a mistake, who was overmatched for a few for those few seconds.
I mean, listen, the two good things that happened, which is even incredible, we even allowed to say that, is the Jet defense played well. We can
Mm-hmm.
all agree with that. And I think they only had two penalties,
That's it. Two penalties.
two penalties like minimal yardage and whatnot.
Agreed. Yes.
But that being said, the Jets had 82 total yards, the third fewest in Jet history. All right. They also got their first takeaway of the season, which is also interesting and a little crazy. Justin Fields was 9 for 17, 45 yards passing. Now, I got to talk about this for 1 second. I asked you, Ed, I'm like, he passed for 45 yards. How do you wind up with negative 10 yards passing? And you said to me,
The larger you use on a sack, they remove from the team, not your individual stats, but the team stats. So if you go on the team stats, you'll see they had negative 10 yards passing. The sack the larger the yards you lose on a sack, they take away from the team passing yards.
right. And I'm glad I asked you that question because I didn't know, but I was watching the Rich Eisen clip, and he actually asked somebody, he passed for 45 yards. How did he wind up with minus 10? And somebody explained to him the same thing. So I don't feel too silly asking that question because I'm
No,
like,
not at all. First of all, Dave, it doesn't come up that much because how many times do you go into the negative figures on passing yards? It doesn't come. In fact, I'll tell you something that was the couple of funny things stats from this game. Um, Yesterday was in the Super Bowl era, right?
right,
The Jets became the first team to have zero turnovers, one takeaway, committed two or less penalties, held opponents to less than 250 yards, and lost.
wow.
The,
And
the,
Ed,
the teams was 62-0 since in the Super Bowl era. Also, just because it never comes up that as you mentioned, we
yeah,
talked about last night. The Jets' negative 10 yards passing was the worst in a game in Jets, and it's the worst by any team in 27 years. So that's why it hasn't come up.
wow. And you saying that, I told my son Matt, I said, Matt, you just witnessed like a record today. Of course, a negative record, but you witnessed something today you might never see again in your lifetime. Uh, it was so like, I'm watching the game, and just to sum it up quickly, just to skip ahead a little bit, the Jets really only scored one field goal, 3 points
On a
on
drive.
their own
Yeah,
with a
agreed.
drive. Everything else was basically handed them. And if
They
they would
had
have
they,
scored,
they, yeah, they had the first field goal on the turnover, the one
yep,
drive you mentioned. They had the good was I think it was a punt return. They had a good punt return and the
yeah.
safety.
And like it says, this is also would have been a great opportunity for Aaron Glenn to say, hey, I put in Tyrod Taylor or Brady Cook just to have a spark, but Justin Fields is still my starter. I don't know why they went back to him in the second half. Uh, it's, Listen, you know what? Skipping forward, to just have two more games before the bye week, depending on how this turns out, and I don't see it turning out good, there's going to be a change. Either the offensive coordinator is going to get. Do they fire offensive coordinators mid-season?
Yeah, you can. Yes.
And or they're going to just put another quarterback in and say, hey, listen, when we have, this is not the first time I'm saying this, Ed, and I'm sure you'll agree. When people say, what about this quarterback? What about that quarterback? My first reaction is, it can't be any worse than what we have. And I'm saying this again
Well, it
under a
can be.
new
You know why?
regime.
It can be worse. You know why? Did you hear
Why is
about
that?
Garrett Wilson?
What's that?
It's going to be worse. Did you hear about Garrett Wilson?
Yes, yes, I did actually when I was picking up my Chinese food. But you know what, though? I said to
You're
myself,
losing. You're losing your top receiver.
but but this is what I said to myself, and get your opinion on this. They didn't hardly throw it to him anyway.
They didn't. They didn't. They held it through him. Yes.
You know, it's like when if somebody gets hurt and not really performing well, I'm like, well, what's the big difference? It's not like Garrett Wilson was scoring 2 touchdowns a game and all of a sudden he's out for a couple of weeks and whatnot. But I mean, listen, this is exciting for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm looking. I'm excited to see how much worse can it get, and they don't disappoint.
right. It's a soap
Negative
opera.
10 yards passing.
It's a drama. It's like, the press conferences are interesting. And for Aaron Glenn, listen, I'm not saying I'm against Aaron Glenn just yet, but he's definitely taken a turn for the worse. For that guy to ask I think it was Costello, I believe the name was, asking the question about why didn't you bench Justin Fields, and him saying, come on, you know better than that. I
That's a
mean,
reasonable question.
look at the stats, man. I mean,
Negative 10
come
yards
on.
passing.
It's obvious.
9
It's so
sacks.
like,
Yeah. It's a fair question. Yes, it's a
oh
very.
my
I think he
God,
pulled
man.
back. I think he actually apologized. I think the Jet public relations department got a hold of Aaron Glenn and said, "Listen, you gotta really, this,
Yeah.
this is
I
you gotta
mean,
own up to you screw up into you got. That's a fair question. Can't be a
this is
report.
why.
That's a fair question.
This is why for the first time I'm nervous and disappointed about Aaron Glenn being the head coach, because I expect him to say, we sucked out there today. If Justin Fields doesn't get play better, he knows what's going to happen. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss of words. Every single show in the New York metropolitan area is talking about the Jets now and that whole halftime debacle and the ineptitude of the offense. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like we're middle of the pack and things are going interesting. It's bizarre, but I want to bring this one thing up to you, Ed, and this is where we might disagree on something. I said to you in a text message, thank God they didn't win the game, and you had a little question mark. I mean, I know there are people out there that say a win is a win. I did not want the Jets to win this game. I don't want the Jets to win games where they can say, hey, look, we're improving now. If they would have won that game, think about how different the press conference would have been. Think about that.
It depends on what happened. All right, let's look back now. They lost 13-11, right? Now, if Brees Hall broke like at the end of the game, if he broke a 30 to 40-yard run and they kicked the field goal, it still would have been the same debacle. They would have said he's still at negative 10 yards passing. I don't think it would. I disagree. I don't think it would have changed much just because it was such an ugly game. And I feel bad for these people. My fault. I know it's funny. My 83-year-old father this morning was
Right.
saying, "Man, I feel bad for some of those English people who went to the game thinking this is what football's all about. This is horrible."
Rich Eisen said the same thing. He said this. Rich Eisen said,
Yeah,
because it's so funny that Rich
it's
Eisen was
soccer.
actually announcing the game, and he's a big Jets fan. He had to be partial during the game, of course, and whatnot. Impartial during the game. But yeah, I don't want the Jets to win ugly games, thinking that they're improving and that they're turning the corner.
Dave, that game was so ugly. I don't think there was any. I think they would have said that they would have been talking today. How the hell they pull that out? It wouldn't have been they were getting better. It would have been
Yeah.
that was pulling a rabbit out of a hat if they would have won.
The question is now going to be, I mean, listen, the first game of the season is always a time for people to adjust. But how the hell did the Jets play that good in a loss that first game of the season? They look nothing like that team since that first game.
Yes, we were all excited that first game.
Yeah.
Another thing funny, Dave. Today, I don't know if you know, today the Winnipeg Jets beat the Islanders in Long Island this afternoon. They had a match.
Okay.
So now the Winnipeg Jets have more wins in New York than the New York Jets. So it's kind of
Yeah. That's a good stat. But yeah, I mean, it's bizarre in an interesting kind of way.
He's
This
gonna start
Sunday,
losing a lot. Though it could get very ugly because he's starting to lose the team. See what Garrett Wilson did to him at the end of the half, walking into the halftime.
yeah.
He's losing the team. it could get. I mean, it's ugly 0-6, but it could get a lot ugly. And I'm very nervous about next week because I watched Carolina damn against the Cowboys. They look pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't expect them to beat Carolina. I mean, anything's possible in the NFL, any given Sunday, but I don't expect too much, especially now with Garrett Wilson being out. But
And that flat long bat, the London hangover coming back from London.
yeah, there's got to be some drastic changes made. And listen, we didn't expect much from the Jets this year as far as wins go, but we expected to see a different team on
Expected
the
some wins.
field. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we expect to see them being capable of playing football. Maybe that's the Denver Broncos' worst game they ever played. Who knows? But we have the Panthers coming up. Then I think we have Cincinnati, a bye week, and the Browns. I mean, I'm thinking, depending how these next 2 weeks go, we kind of have a clue. I think after the bye week, I don't think Justin Fields is going to be starting after the bye week at this point.
They invested a lot. I'd be surprised. I think they're gonna give him they invested a lot of money in him. He's got $30 million guaranteed.
I know.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna give him every chance they possibly can, before they pull him.
But listen, Ed, the fact of the matter is, Aaron Glenn has no confidence in his offense passing game whatsoever. None. How low can they go? We're going to find out. And you know what? In a couple of weeks, when it turns into 0-8 and 0-9, we could unbuckle our seatbelts because Aaron Glenn said, buckle your seatbelts. We could unbuckle the seatbelts. The ride is going to be over.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride.
Sure.
So, all right. Until next week, everybody be well. Enjoy the rest of your week. And let's go Jets. Maybe let's go Jets for the number 1 draft pick. Even that doesn't help us anyway. We don't do good with that either. All right, Ed. Thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Be well.